Squad. It is your boy JB, and I am here today with a live reaction to last night's episode of Love during Lockup, you guys. So you guys, before we go ahead and jump into this live, if you guys are watching this or any other video on this channel and you guys aren't subscribed yet, y'all do me a solid favor and get down in the comment section, like the video, in the live chat, subscribe to the channel, all that good jazz, right? But with that out of the way, you guys, let us go ahead and talk about this brand new season of Love During Lockup. And I want you guys to tell me what you guys thought about it so far. For me, so far, the first episode was a riot to me. I enjoyed it. So I want you guys definitely to chime in and let me know what you think about it. Tell me who you guys like so far, who you don't like, and we'll go from there. But yeah, let's talk about Love During Lockup. And also Love After Lockup. It'll be back this September, you guys. So we're gonna be rocking and rolling. We're gonna be busy, and I'm here for it. But yeah, let's go ahead and talk about our cast. Now, if you guys did not watch last week when I did a Meet the Cast video, that is currently up. So feel free to go check that out as well. And yeah, let's go ahead and talk about it. So once again, let me know what you guys think in the comment section about this, and we shall go ahead and jump into it. So let's get into our first couple that we are introduced to in this episode, you guys. And the first couple that we got introduced to was who were we first introduced to? Oh yeah, Jade and Chris. So Jade is a social media influencer and she's 33 years old. And then Chris is 39 years old and Chris is in prison for burglary and identity theft. And Chris is 39 years old. But I was about to say something, but I just remember Chris was on meth, right? So hey, that's why he looks like he looks, because he looks a lot older than 39. But hey, when you do drugs, it typically ages you, right? So Jade and Chris, very interesting pair, right? So in this episode, we were introduced to Jade. So Jade has two sisters, right? And she's celebrating one of her sister's birthday. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe Jay said that her sisters' names are Jessica and Johanna or something like that, right? And they call themselves the Jardashians. I was like, oh, okay. So Jade and Chris, they met on, I think, a Prison Pen Pal website. If I'm wrong, you guys can definitely correct me, right? So Chris called her on the phone. And it was so interesting because when Chris called her, it's like he was calling her from a cell phone. And I was like, wow, this is very interesting. I be thinking to myself all the time when I see these people calling their significant others, like just regular calling them and then FaceTiming them. I'm like, how are you doing this from a cell? I thought phones were considered contraband, but I guess not, right? But Jay lets us know that she and Chris, they got married after 7 months of meeting each other. I was like, was that a smart thing to do? Because I don't know if that was smart to marry somebody after 7 months of knowing them. Because for me, it's gonna be a whole ass hell to the nah. I'm not marrying you after no 7 months. I don't even know you like that, right? Chris is a controlling person, and Jade, I don't know if you don't see the red flags and the warning signs, but I guess you're gonna stick with it because that's your man. But I would get out of that marriage, especially the fact that he's controlling. Now, I don't know how somebody who is in prison can try to control anybody because you, sir, have to ask for permission to go to the bathroom. You, sir, have to ask for permission to take a shower. You, sir, have to ask for permission to eat. They tell you when to eat. They tell you when you're going to do a lot of things. So for me, you wouldn't be able to tell me a lick of nothing. Just wouldn't happen, right? So like I said, also Chris is Native American, and this ain't no shade to him by no means. But when I look at his pictures, and then when we saw him in this episode, nothing about Chris gives me that he is a Native American. Chris is giving me John from I forget which season that was, where John was saying he was Native American, but a lot of people thought he was cosplaying. That's what I get from Chris, that he's probably cosplaying as Native American. No shade, no tea, but that's just what I get from him. I don't really necessarily see Native American. Now, they did show a picture of him with a woman that had on Native American garb, but Chris himself, I don't see it. Let me know if you guys see it. So his tribe owns casinos, right? And so she says that he gets ten to $12,000 a month, and it goes into their joint account. And I was like, oh, okay. So she's talking about, he bought the house, bought the cars, bought this, bought that. I was like, oh, so it's the lifestyle that you like. I ain't mad at you, and I'm definitely not even hating on you, sis. Like, get it how you live, right? But the question that I then posed is, if this man gets $10,000 to $12,000 a month, why the hell is he in jail for burglary? The identity theft I can probably understand, but the burglary, if you got that kind of money coming in every month, why you out here doing burglary? Like, it don't make it's the math ain't math. But she ain't the only person that the math didn't math for, right? But she said that the reason why he did that is because he got addicted to meth. I was like, so he was trying to feed that meth habit. I wonder what his teeth look like. No shade. I just really wonder what his teeth look like. But she says that Chris is serving 32 years in prison. I was like, ain't no way in hell. The hell? 32 years. But she says he should get out in 2024. So that's next year. But this man has been in prison 7 times. I was like, why would you want to be with somebody like that? This ain't no shade, no judgment to anybody that's been to prison, right? I don't want nobody to feel some type of way when I say this, but he's been to prison 7 different times. That man obviously either hasn't learned a lesson or there was something in prison that he was missing. Because why the hell would you want to go to prison 7 different times? Ain't no way. Ain't no way. So remember, I just said that she was throwing a birthday party for her sister. I think her sister turned 30. And, before they hung up the phone, she was with her family and her friends. He asked her at one point in this episode, he was like, so when can I call you back? And so I don't think she gave him a definitive time, but they hung up the phone, and this man continued to call her repeatedly. Then after he called her, he called one of her friends, and then he called her sister. I'm like, ma'am, why would you put up with that? That's just something I ain't finna put up with. You're not finna call my phone back to back to back to back to back. First of all, I'm gonna block you. Then I'm gonna turn my phone off. Then I'm gonna tell my family and friends, y'all turn y'all's phones off too, so that way he can't get through to you, because ain't no way in hell. Ain't no way in hell. Then the other thing that threw me is when they had this party, the thumbnail of this video, if you guys didn't notice it, it's this. She has a cardboard cutout of this man. And I was just like, why do we have a cardboard cutout of him? This ain't a party for him. And then that cardboard cutout was on one of those vacuum cleaners that roll around. I was like, ma'am, we doing the most, ain't we? We are doing the absolute most. When it comes to Jade, I'm kind of hoping that you in this for the money, and you stashing a little money so that way you can, plan your exit. Because if it ain't, I don't know why you're in this situation with this man. I just don't get it. I don't see it. But good luck to you, sis, because that's all I gotta say. Good luck to you. But yeah, you guys, tell me what you guys think about Jade and Chris, and we will move on to the next couple. I will say some of these people give a little bit of delusional for me, but like I said, I'm going to enjoy this season. I think it's going to really give us a good time, right? But let's move on to the next couple. All right, my bad, you guys. I was choking. So the next couple is LATISHA and Keith, you guys. LATISHA and Keith are an interesting pair. So LATISHA is 36 years old, and she's a business owner. And Keith is 34 years old, and he is in prison for drug distribution, you guys. Mm-mm-mm. LATISHA. LATISHA. What can I say about LATISHA? What can I say about LATISHA? Um, I can say one thing I can say about LATISHA is, girl, you could never do my taxes. I just want just something about you. It just screams, I don't trust you. Like, I don't trust you not one to the bit. So LATISHA has two daughters. Now I didn't necessarily catch the ages of her daughters. So we see LATISHA. So LATISHA is getting her daughters ready for school, and she is getting ready for work, right? So LATISHA, I don't know why you felt the need to tell us that when you went to the office that you didn't have no panties on and that your coochie was cold. That was a little bit too much information, ma'am. Way too much information for me to know that you ain't got no panties on and that your coochie was freezing. So LATISHA, this ain't no shade, but you definitely do give a little bit of a bird tea, especially when you was talking about the fact that when you saw him and the gold front, it was like a panty drop. I was like, the gold teeth made your panties drop? Okay, I mean, that's kind of odd, but if you like it, I guess I love it. So her and Keith are married as well, right? So, so LATISHA said that Keith asked her to marry her over the phone when she was in the parking lot of Walgreens. I'm like, girl, that is not a story that I would ever tell anybody. No shade. I just would never repeat that, regurgitate that story. I would come up with something more romantic, but I don't know how you can come up with anything romantic when your man is in prison. She's also happy that her man ain't got a little dick. I was like, that's the thing that we're happy about, that he ain't got no little dick. Now, here's another thing, you guys. Going back to the fact that she has daughters, I always just find it kind of interesting when these women get with these men and they got kids, like, and you don't know these men outside of prison. Like, why would you take the risk of having this stranger around your children? I don't understand it. It just blows my mind. And I'm not saying that he's a bad person. I'm just saying that it's just kind of mind blowing to me. Like, let me know if I'm just the one, if I'm on this island by myself, which I know I'm not, because I always see it in my comments when we talk about this when it comes to the women. Like, y'all always put the men, it's like y'all put the men before your kids. And I just never understand that. Don't understand it. So, LATISHA, she got to work and her employees were there. They were working. Then she called a meeting with them. When she called this meeting with them, she let them know that Keith is going to be their new boss as well, in conjunction with her. And one of the coworkers, one of her employees was looking at her like, girl, I know you fucking lying, right? And so she's like, what is that face for? And then she said, well, if you don't like it, you can what did she say to that girl? If you don't like it, oh, you can put in your 2 weeks resignation letter. If I was a girl, I would have said, you know what, you ain't said nothing but a word because you want me to take orders from a man that's in prison that's taking orders from a prison guard. Absolutely the fuck not. I think the fuck not. And then I'm like, nah, ma'am, I'm just not feeling this, right? Because you're not going to get me wrapped up in tax frauds, any kind of illegalities. You ain't going to get me caught up in it. And I actually did. I think I saw that she had gotten, she had some legal issues herself, right? That ain't got nothing to do with nothing. But yeah, as far as Mr. Keith being a boss of mine, I would have told her you can have that 2 weeks notice, sis, because I ain't working under that man. Absolutely not. And then she was talking about, that's more business from people in prison because they get paid. They get paid like 25 cents, 15 cents an hour. That ain't adding up to nothing. I don't give a damn if you work 40 hours a week. That ain't adding up to a lick of shit. So what taxes are those people filing? Like, please explain that to me. What taxes are they filing? Like, I really want to know, like, if somebody makes 14 cents an hour and they work 40 hours a week, like they only making like $11 and 20, they making like $11 or something. They ain't making no money. So what taxes would they file? Please tell me what taxes these people are filing. I just really want to know the answer to that question. So I got my good side eye reserved for LATISHA. Ain't no way. Like I would have told her, girl, you can have it. So like I said, so Keith is in jail for drug distribution, right? And Letitia, like, you know, well, at least he didn't hurt anybody. What drug was he selling, sis? And then that'll be if he hurt anybody. Because if he was selling that fentanyl, that's hurtful, sis. So he got 14 years in prison, and she expects him to be out of prison by next year. I was like, well, good luck with that. I think your clientele gonna die down when they find out that your husband is a criminal and doing taxes. They gonna think fraud and walk right out the building. Just letting you know that right here, right now, right? So then we see Letitia as she took her team out for, I guess happy hour or something, right? So the girl that she told previously that if she don't like the fact that Keith is gonna be working with them, that she could put on her 2 weeks notice. That girl asked another one, did you tell her that you dated her husband? And so Letitia looked at her and the girl said, yeah, she knew that we conversated. I hate when people say that word conversated. Y'all, that's not, let me tell you here right now. Conversated is not a word, it's conversed. The word is you conversed with the person, not conversated. But then Letitia gonna look at her and be like, so you fucked my husband? I was like, girl, that ain't what she said, but what you gonna do if she did? What you gonna do if she did? Because that would be on your husband for not telling you. So you might want to take that issue up with him and not this young lady. But hey, tell me what you guys think about Letitia. Is Letitia or Letitia? But tell me guys what you think about Letitia and Keith. I think they're gonna give us a time this season, and I'm actually here for it. I'm so here for Letitia, and I'm here for Letitia and Keith. But yeah, let's go ahead and move over to our next couple that we got. I'm trying to figure out which order I want to go in, you guys, because a lot of these people are going to be very, very interesting this season, and like I said, I'm here for it. So we discussed Letitia and Keith. We've discussed Jade and whatever his name is. Let's go to these two, Andy and Brittney. So Andy is 44 years old. He's a former police officer, and you have Brittney, who is 36 years old, and she's in prison for drug possession. And those eyebrows, whoa! Look at those eyebrows. Look at those. Look at that hairline. She got a widow's peak. So Andy and Brittney. When it comes to these two, I just don't know who is running the con on who, because both of them give me a con. So I don't know if it's Andy that's running the con on her or if she running the con on him. Either way it go, I want them to run this con off of my TV screen, because I don't see it from Andy and I don't see it for Brittney, right? So like I said, Andy, he's a former police officer. He was a police officer for about 13 years, right? He said that, his ex-wife, she got when got with somebody who was on drugs, right? And he got custody of their children. So when he got custody of the children, he had to leave his job as a police officer because I guess he worked overnights, right? And he I guess he had, working overnights, he had to be home for the kids, right? So, but the thing that I had a question about is, even if you worked overnights, why didn't you just say, can I switch to days? Is that not a possibility? Because then he said he went and became a truck driver. And I was like, if you became a truck driver, those hours are even more erratic than a police officer. But hey, I ain't got nothing to say, right? But he went from his ex-wife, who was an addict, to Brittney, who is in prison for drug possession. I really want for Andy to make that shit make sense to me, because on no in no uncertain terms does that make any sense to me. Like, you left your ex, either you left her or your ex-wife left you. Either way it goes, y'all not together, but she was on drugs. Then you go get with a woman that's in prison for drugs. Then he don't know anything about this woman, right? So he met up with his friend. They went to a donut shop. And so his friend asked him, like, how much money have you given her? And he said, I've given her about $5,000 to $6,000. And I was just sitting here thinking to myself, like, what a fool. So you ain't gave none of that. What are you doing for your kids? Like, you gave a felon A woman that's in prison, $5,000 to $6,000, but you got 3 children. I don't know what the ages your kids are, and I don't really want to know what the ages of your kids are. But damn, you didn't give none of that to your kids. You gave it to a virtual stranger that you ain't even done no research on, and you are a former police officer. Where does that make sense at, sir? So his friend decides to look up in Brittney's background, right? And they found all the things that she's been to jail for. They also found out that she previously had lived with like 20, cohabitated with 25 different men. And that's something he didn't know. I was like, that's something you didn't know because you didn't ask it, or you didn't look this woman up. You just went to this prison pen pal website because you were lonely as a truck driver. I just don't buy it. Honestly, I do not buy anything when it comes to Mr. Andy. Andy, like I said, he gives me a con. But again, I don't know who's running a con on who, if it's Andy or if it's Brittney. And I feel like it's both of them. And I really want both of them to go somewhere. He didn't even, here's the other thing that kind of threw me with Andy. He didn't even say anything about when Brittney is, how long she's in prison and when Brittney's supposed to get out of prison. I feel like I don't know. But I did read, I think I read that last week, that Andy is a fan of this show. So I think Andy probably went on one of them prison dating websites, tried to find the first person that he could find, and just went from there. Because say what now? You ain't done no deep dive into who this woman is, but you've given this woman $5,000 to $6,000 of your money, and once again, like I said, you got children, you got 3 kids. Do something better. Do something for your kids, not this woman with these funny looking eyebrows. Yeah, I'm not feeling Andy at all. Andy can get the hell off of my screen. But let's go ahead and move over to the next couple, you guys. Brittney and KEROK, you guys. I think that Brittney and KEROK are going to be an interesting couple. So Brittney is 22 years old. It says she's a student slash server, and KEROK is 25 years old, and KEROK is in prison for robbery. And so it's the same thing for Brittney. So Brittney was an inmate as well. So Brittney was in prison for 3 years she was in prison for armed robbery, right? And Brittney and KEROK met in prison. So I know people have, like I said in my video, if you guys haven't watched it, people were questioning, like, how did they meet each other? Well, I'll tell you how they met each other. Brittney and KEROK met each other in the women's facility because when KEROK went into prison, KEROK went into prison as a woman, but KEROK transitioned from woman to man, female to male, right? While he was in prison, right? And when you look at KEROK, like this picture of KEROK, I don't see any sign of femininity. Like I see a lot of masculinity in. So I'm like, wow. And I even said, I don't know if I said this in my video or not, but KEROK definitely looked like somebody that I went to school with. I don't even know. I think she's just a stud, but KEROK looked like somebody that I went to school with, right? So Brittney and this black scent. I'm gonna leave it alone for right now, but I'm gonna keep my good eye on Miss Brittney as the season goes on, right? So Brittney is, in school, and she's going to school for cosmetology, right? So she's going to school to do hair. Brittney is one of those people who every season, when most times we see it when the women go looking for their wedding dresses and stuff, or looking for stuff for their man when he get out of prison, they overshare. Brittney definitely overshared in this scene with everybody in that cosmetology school. She let them know, about her going to prison for 3 years for armed robbery. I was like, ma'am, why are you telling everybody your business? Because they are looking at you probably sideways and probably clutching the fuck out of their purse, like, this bitch ain't gonna rob me. Then she tells them about her relationship with KEROK, and the instructor was like, huh? So how did y'all meet in prison? She's like, oh, well, he was born a woman. And they were like, okay. Then they asked her about, having sex. How did they do that? And she told them they put a sheet open or something. I was like, Brittney, you are giving up too much information that I don't think nobody really wanted to know. So then So Brittney and KEROK are engaged, but her engagement ring is a promise ring. And I was like, how old are we that we are still giving out promise rings? That ain't no shade to her, but I'm like, a promise ring? Yeah, I think you can keep that promise ring and shove it right up your behind, right? So then on top of that, they asked her how much was the promise ring, right? So she said that the promise ring was about $4,000. So one of the women asked her, "Well, how did your fiance get the money?" So she said that her fiance has some other investments, right? And then she said that he also has some sugar mamas. So they were like, "So you're not worried about the sugar mama?" And she was like, "No, I ain't worried about the sugar mamas." I was like, "Okay, I mean, hey, at least she's honest. She said she ain't worried about it, right? She ain't worried about it, and I ain't either. Because if she like it, I love it. Because I feel like I guess she says, hey, shit, my man getting money from these women that's stupid enough to send him money, and I'm benefiting from it. So if she cool with it, I'm cool with it. But yeah, you guys, please tell me what you think about Brittney and KEROK in the live and in the comment section below, and we're gonna go ahead and move on to our last person. And I save the best for last. Y'all, RANEKA and ASONTA. RANEKA is 34 years old and she said entrepreneur. And ASONTA is 32 years old and he's in prison for robbery and grand theft auto, you guys. So ASONTA and RANEKA. First of all, RANEKA, this wig. What is this wig, sis? Because this wig is just throwing me. It's bothering me. It's just one side of the wig is she got all these baby hairs on it, right? And it's the baby hairs for me. It's the baby hairs for me. The baby hairs are touching her forehead and everything. And then on one side, you got the baby hairs. They kind of lift it, and it's like a sideburn. I'm like, what kind of hairstyle was you going for? Then the color of this wig, it is green. She looks like poison ivy. This is like a can of 7 Up, a can of Sprite. It's a lot, Ms. RANEKA. I'm just saying that right here, right now. Your wig is just a whole lot. So then we see her. So RANEKA went to I guess a beauty shop. So she has a eyelash vending machine, right? So she put her eyelashes in the vending machine, and people come and buy it. So let RANEKA tell it. She makes about $20,000 a year from them, right? And I was like, $20,000 a year, huh? And she said she got about 5 different vending machines. I was like, so $20,000 a year. That means you make about $100,000 a year. So you should be well off. You should be set. Like you should be good, right? So she tells the woman at the beauty shop that she is getting ready to move to Atlanta. I don't have a problem with you, wanting to move to Atlanta, pursue a career or just get into a new environment, fresh start, all that kind of stuff. But nope, RANEKA is moving to Atlanta because of ASONTA, who is in prison, who she's never met. Oh, did I also forget to mention that RANEKA has kids as well? I think she got 2 daughters, right? And I think they look like they were teenage girls. And I was just like, God, why do they do this every season with the women? Y'all uproot y'all lives for these men. And I don't think there's very few success stories when it comes to that. The one that's coming off the top of my head right now is Eris and Cameron. I know that they're still married and that they're expecting their baby anytime soon. I think their baby's due pretty soon. Hey, let me know in the comment section, has Eris and Cameron had their baby? But yeah, RANEKA is moving down there. So the woman asked her, so do you have anything planned? Like what you gonna do when you get down there? Do you have a job? RANEKA says, no, I ain't got no job. Then RANEKA says she's gonna take care of this nigga when he get out of prison. I was like, say what now? Run that back to me real quick. So you gonna take care of this man when he gets out of prison. And then on top of that, you send him money while he's in prison. RANEKA, you a fool. So she's moving out of her mama's house. I was like, wait a minute. why are you staying with your mama? But you said to us that you make about $20,000 a year from your vending machines, and you got about five. So don't think you should have about $100,000 to your name. But I mean, you know what? If Ranika like it, I love it. It just don't make a whole lot of sense to me. I think it's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life, to just uproot your life for somebody that you don't know. Like, I see people do that quite often, where they'll move for somebody that they don't know. I'm like, no, just because we dating, hell no. Nah. I'm not gonna move because of you. Like, let's take the time to get to know each other and, develop the relationship. But for me to just, and especially with you having kids, it's just not something that I think is the smartest thing in the world to do. I actually think it's very stupid. I just really think it's very stupid, right? So her friend that she was talking to told her, girl, those are red flags. I was like, exactly. Red flag, red flag, red flag. But at this point, it looked like Ranika's painting all these red flags blue, purple, pink, orange, and green, like her hair. No, ma'am. So later in the episode, we see Ranika. So Ranika met up with her daddy, right? So her dad was in prison, and he was in prison for drug trafficking, right? And she's telling her dad that she's finna get ready to move to Atlanta to be with Asante. Her daddy didn't know anything about this. And Ranika, what I will say is, you might want to listen to your daddy, because your daddy was giving you the real tea. Because this nigga is just running game. And I saw a lot of people, this is not something that I'm saying, but I did see a lot of people say that he gave them the vibe that he might not be into women. Asante, that is. I don't know that. That's not something that JB is saying. But that's one of the consensus that I saw in other comment sections and on social media last night. That ain't what I'm saying. I'm just telling you guys what I saw. But yeah, you guys. Overall, that was the first episode of Love During Lockup. I don't know what season this is, so I put season 3, episode 9, because the guide says one thing on the website and it says another thing on the TV. But if you guys did watch this episode, let me know what you guys thought about it in the comment section below. You guys subscribe to the channel, turn on your post notifications, you guys, share the live, and I will catch you guys later. So I will see you guys tomorrow for the live video for Love and Marriage Detroit, and then pre-recorded a video for Real Housewives of Atlanta. And then on Monday morning, we will go live to discuss the Real Housewives of New York episode to you guys. So I will see you guys then. But as always, like I said, you guys stay safe out there. Take care of yourselves. Wash your hands. Be blessed. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.